Who owns a copy of this book? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. No. This is one of the main resources that we use for Crew 44. Now, Crew, as you heard, is culturally, the acronym stands for culturally relevant expressions of worship. The 44 is like 40 verse 4 from Isaiah chapter 40 verse 4. Every valley shall be filled, and every mountain and hill shall be brought low. The rough places made smooth, and the crooked paths are plain. And the next verse goes on to say, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. The mouth of the Lord has spoken it. So our primary thing has been to promote love and unity in Christ through culturally relevant expressions of worship. Now, I used to think, and I tell this story often, that I say it is not factual, but it is truthful. When I was a little girl, I used to think that God didn't understand patois because we never used it in our church. And then I got a little older and I said, but God is God. God knows everything, so He must understand patois. So it must be that He doesn't like it because we don't use it in our church. And then more time passed, and I noticed that in an open air meeting, it seemed okay for the preacher to drop in a word of patois here and there. So I said, aha, He doesn't mind as long as we keep it outside of the sanctuary. And then even more time passed, and I noticed evening service. If someone is giving a testimony, then it seemed okay to use some patois in the testimony. In the evening service, I said, aha, He doesn't mind as long as we keep it outside of the holy, divine morning service. I'm watching the faces to see and trying to read what's going on in your head, because usually by this time, people realize that it has not been a matter of what God wanted or what God understood, but it has been a matter of what people have decided is appropriate for a number of reasons. But the primary reason has been, from my understanding of it, that we have stratification in society and people must be kept in their place. Language is one key thing that we have used to divide people. And so, because, and in Jamaica we have not yet heard the government declare that this language is a language. And so, what it really is if you do not validate a people's language, you really are not validating the people themselves. It is impossible to separate a person's identity from their language. And so, I believe that the mission of the church in this era, and it has always been, is really to validate the people, because guess what? God loved the world so much that He sent Him one dege boy picnic, so that anybody will trust in Him, they're not go dead, but they're going to live forever. John chapter 3 and verse 16. Right? There was a passage that was read, and then after this I'm going to pause because I'm pretty sure that people already have questions. No, I'm not going to pause yet. I'm going to tell you a little more about what Crew is doing, and then we will ask a question. But you read a passage this morning, and something jumped out at me. I'm going to read it from the. I'm hoping that the non-Jamaicans will be able to understand. But at any rate, you have the English, you have the, I hope the Haitians have their Creole scriptures here, so you can follow along. So this morning you read Antigua. I know because I actually did some work there before ours came into being. What do you mean in Jamaica? What do you mean what I'm doing in Jamaica? Alright, it's soon question time, sir. Alright, so Luke chapter 4, what was read from verse, alright, we read from verse 14 to verse 20. And when we finish, what we normally do is say, oh, God wrote this. And everybody said, thank God. Alright. So, Luke chapter 4 from verse 14 to verse 20. Jesus go back to Galilee under the Spirit power. And news about him start to spread so till people will live near Galilee hear about him. Him teaching at the Jew them church and everybody talk good about him. When Jesus reached Nazareth, the place where party go, he go in at the Jew them church on the Sabbath like him always do. Him turn up for read and then give him a roll-up book where the prophet Isaiah writes. Him roll it out and find the part where it said, the Spirit of the Lord dey upon me, cause him pick me out to carry good news about the poor people. Him send me to make the prisoner them know so them a go free, to make blind people know so them a go see again, to make people who are suffer know so them not go suffer forever. And him pick me out to make people know say this at the time when the Lord a go save him people there. So when Jesus done, he roll up back the book, give them and sit down. Everybody way in the Jew them church, yeah, I did fast upon him. And Jesus started to tell them, say, today, all the way when you just hear, come true. And God wrote this. Amen. Yes. So, you know what jumped out at me? It said, Jesus was sent. The Spirit of the Lord was on him. Picked him out to take good news to poor people. But somehow, and I'll tell you, I had an experience recently where someone from a prominent church, large congregation in Kingston, said that this would not be appropriate or relevant in her church because the people in that church are for the most part from a certain class. And I said to her, I happen to know that that church is in the middle of an inner city community. So are we saying that there is no space beside us in this space for the people who live in the community? So you understand now the heart of God. Why is it that this is important? This is important because, as I quoted John 3:16, Jesus left deity, put on human clothes to come down so that he can raise us up to be in heavenly places with him. Who are we to exclude anybody or any language because we think it is below our dignity? Yeah. I couldn't speak that when I was growing up, but anyway, I don't want to overspeak. I want to hear what is going on in your heads. So Crew uses arts. We use the arts and we use the language of the people. So we are spreading the message of Jesus Christ using heart languages of people and using the music, indigenous music and other indigenous art forms to create spaces for people to connect with themselves and by so doing connect with God, worshiping him in spirit and in truth, not just the truth of who we are, no, of who God is, because that goes without saying, but the truth also of who